From the shores of Lake Erie to Browns fans worldwide, hope is alive and the future's bright. There's a Gleam podcast, a Cleveland Browns podcast. Let's get the Gleam together. Cold Lake wind and orange lights, Sunday fire, dog pound nights. We won the scars, we stood the test, brown and orange across our chest. From the Muni lot to the end zone line, this city's heart still beats in time. Through every loss and every dream, you can feel it rise. There's a gleam. Let's get the gleam together. This is our time. Let's get the gleam together. Whoa. Let's get the gleam together. This is our town.
All right. Good afternoon, Cleveland, from the shores of Lake Erie to Browns fans worldwide. This is There's a Gleam podcast, Cleveland Browns podcast. We are streaming live on X, YouTube, Facebook, and we are also set up live on TikTok right now. So want to thank everybody for joining the podcast today. Steve is not in the studio. He's big. He went Richie Sambora on me. I feel like John Bon Jovi. We have a show. Where's Richie Sambora? Well, I'm gonna take control today. It's all me all day for the next hour, maybe an hour. I don't know if I can squeeze an hour out of this. I'm sure as hell gonna try. So today has been crazy for me. I'm getting phone calls left and right about this car that my daughter is selling. So everybody that's trying to get a hold of me about this car that's for sale, you're gonna have to wait, because I've got a podcast to do. Now, you can always join us live on Wednesdays at noon on Facebook, X, and Twitter. You can listen to our podcast later on after the show. Apple, Spotify, and YouTube podcasts will carry it. I try to get the podcast up right after we do the shows. I've had pretty good success lately of getting the show out there right away afterwards, so people can listen to it on Wednesday night. Got a lot of people following right now on TikTok. Thank you very much. It's a new platform for us, so we'll see how that goes. Well, not new platform, but new platform going live. So you'll also see. You know what? It's funny. So Steve always does the pictures. He has all the pictures. He's got all the cool stuff. I have like one cool thing that I do, and it's like a sound effect, and that's it. And I don't even know if I could find that today. So I do not have a producer in studio. We're still looking for a producer. If you know a producer that wants to help us out, we do pay with beer. You can, let's see, find us on, I don't have it. I don't believe I don't have it. Anyways, let's move on, because you know what? If you're watching and you see us, you don't need to know where to find us, because you already found us. That's the cool thing. We are going to be going over some really big Browns news today. It's, this whole Myles Garrett trade. That took up a lot of what we were going to talk about today. I was pulling some information for Know Your Enemy, the AFC North, Intel, the Gleam meter. We'll go over the Gleam meter today. I've got some good stuff on that. I started out in the week asking the Gleam meter, how do you feel about KC Concepcion and what kind of year he's going to have? And then it went over to the whole Myles Garrett thing and the trade, and how do you feel about the trade? So we have two different Gleam meters, and I'm going to do my best to share some of the comments that we have. Let's see what else we've got going. Browns news. Like I said, a lot of Browns news. We have a little bit of Todd Monken, quarterback deadline that he set. We've got Inside the Dog Pound with Euclid Pet Pals. And we will be talking about our free agent Fido this week. And see, look, now I'm getting text messages about this towing company, and I don't have time for this. I just had to swipe up on my phone. Okay, so what else do we got? Well, you know what? I'll tell you what, folks. I am really want to start off with this Browns news about Myles Garrett and the legacy of Myles Garrett from day one, from when he got here in 2017 until the other day when he was traded to the Los Angeles Rams. And we're talking about an end of an era in Cleveland with Myles Garrett being traded. Now, we did get Jared Verse, a 2027 first round pick, a 2028 second round pick, and a 2029 third round pick. My first reaction on trading Myles Garrett was I hated it. I absolutely hated it. I've said all along, you do not trade Hall of Fame talent. But then I thought about it. And after I calmed down for a minute, this team was going nowhere this year. They weren't going, they didn't win with Myles Garrett. And I think it was the right time to make this move. The Browns are not just one player away. They're rebuilding. And Myles Garrett wanted to win a Super Bowl now. And going to the Los Angeles Rams, that gives him his best chance to win a Super Bowl. I saw in a preseason power ranking, and they had the Los Angeles Rams, I believe, the second team in the power rankings behind the Seattle Seahawks. I'm sure Seattle Seahawks fans are not happy about this. My friend Kevin up in Washington, he's a Seahawks fan, and I don't think he's too thrilled about having Myles Garrett in the division. Sometimes these decisions, though, they have to be made. It's painful. It's painful for the fans, but for the team, it's a business decision, and I get it. So let's talk a little bit about what the Cleveland Browns got back in this trade. They got Jared Verse. He's the centerpiece of this trade. He think that, a lot of people thought, oh, well, we should get 3 number ones for Myles Garrett. Well, Jared Verse really is a number 1 pick for the Browns. And he's already proven he's a defensive rookie of the year 2 years ago. So they know what they're getting. This isn't a shot in the dark on a draft pick. And that's why I like that. Now, the first round pick that we get next year, it's probably going to be a late pick, probably in the high 20s, maybe even 32 if the Rams have a great season. But it's still ammunition for Andrew Berry to go out and get the quarterback that he wants next year, because that's what this is all about. It's all about quarterback hunting and 2029 when the Cleveland Browns move into the new stadium in Brook Park, Ohio. Now, Verse was born in Dayton, Ohio. He played his high school football in Pennsylvania. And then he started his college career at Albany for the Great Danes. He transferred then to Florida State and became one of the best defensive players in college football. And the funny thing is that Verse was not a 5-star recruit. Nobody handed Jared Verse anything. So for him to kind of come out of nowhere, it makes me kind of think about a Carson Schlesinger, where a lot of people didn't have him very high either. He was coming out during the COVID years, and there wasn't a lot on him. Verse was the same way. He fought his way to get from Albany to Florida State to the NFL. And he's proven in 21 in Albany, he had 53 tackles, 9.5 sacks, and 11.5 sacks for a loss. And then at Florida State, he had 89 tackles, 29.5 tackles for loss, 18 sacks, and a 2-time All-American, a 2-time first-team All-ACC. He was drafted 19th in 2024. Like I said, he was the 2024 Defensive Rookie of the Year. And the wild thing about this is now you have the 2024 Defensive Rookie of the Year and the 2025 Defensive Rookie of the Year in Carson Schlesinger. So Verse and Schlesinger together, you are building a formidable defense with these two. We saw Schlesinger play. I know a lot of us haven't seen much on Verse, because he plays out on the West Coast. But the things that I've been reading and the things that I've been seeing is this is the guy you want for the Cleveland Browns. This guy's a football player. He's physical. He's violent. He's relentless. He's a leader. He's a dog. Rich Eisen. I heard a story that Rich Eisen talked about where his rookie year in camp, Todd McShay had to tell Verse to calm down. You're going too hard. You're going to hurt somebody. And this is in training camp and in practice. So this guy got a high motor. He's a leader too. I got a comment here. The fact that Rams valued Verse at number number ones is kind of crazy to me, though. That's Braden from Too Real on TikTok. The fact that Rams valued Verse at number 2 ones is kind of crazy. Okay. I Verse and 2 ones. Well, we got the Verse and then the 1 in 27 and then second and 28 and a third and 29. But I think I see what he's trying to saying. And then another comment, God, I wish JOK never got hurt. Oh, you and me both. Could you imagine JOK on this team also? Well, now we talked a little bit about Verse. Let's go over Myles Garrett. Drafted in the 2017 NFL draft. The crazy thing about that draft, too, is when you look at the players, and I pulled it up. That draft had Myles Garrett number 1. Remember Mitch Trubisky from Mentor Cardinals, I believe, the Cardinals. He was drafted 2, and then Solomon Thomas, the defensive end, to San Francisco at 3. That draft also had Christian McCaffrey, Patrick Mahomes, and then at number 12, the Houston Texans took Deshaun Watson. Crazy. What a draft that was, huh? The Browns in that year also took Jabril Peppers and David Njoku. So that was a really good draft for the Browns. I had a comment here. Has Verse spoke to the media yet? From Braden Too Real. I have not heard anything about him speaking to the media yet. I saw Myles Garrett, and I had pulled some video clip, but I'm the only one here by myself today, so I didn't get to pull it up. But it was Myles Garrett in L.A. visiting the facility. He seems happy. I'm happy for Myles Garrett. So Mike Palmer on Facebook, can't keep rebuilding every 2 years. Mike, hopefully this is the last rebuild. Someone just asked me to co-host on TikTok. I'm not sure how that works, but James Frank, one of our buddies, missed you last week, James. So part of the trade is if they trade Myles back into the AFC North, that 3rd round pick becomes a 1st round pick. Okay, James. That would be nice, but I don't want Myles in the AFC North. Are you kidding me? I don't need Shooter Sanders running for his life. I have friends from Pittsburgh that I work with, and they are pretty happy that Myles Garrett is no longer in the AFC North. So anyways, Myles got drafted in that 2017 draft. 1st pick overall out of Texas, Texas A&M. And he was the safest pick. He was the consensus all around best player available. I remember watching that draft. There was no question about it, no debate. Myles Garrett was the guy. I don't think anybody knew how great he was going to be at the time they picked him. Of course, obviously, you want him to be that guy, but man, he turned out to be something spectacular for the Cleveland Browns. At Texas A&M, he was one of the most dominant defensive players. He's a unanimous All-American, 1st team All-SEC. Everybody knew it. And when the Browns got him, they were coming off an 0-16 season, and it was a low point in Browns history. And then Myles Garrett gets drafted. And as Browns fans, we are thinking we've turned the corner, and we are going to take this franchise to new heights. Unfortunately, that never really happened. There were a lot of issues that Myles Garrett had to deal with his time in Cleveland. They fired Hugh Jackson on October 28th, 2018. The decision came a day after the team's loss to the Steelers, dropping the record to 2-5-1 for the season. And Jackson's record to an unceremonious 336-1. So then Greg Williams took over the defense for Hugh Jackson as interim coach in 2018. And then following that season, Freddie Kitchens was named the permanent head coach. And then in 2020, Kevin Stefanski was named head coach. So Myles Garrett has had to deal with some coaching changes in Cleveland. But not only coaching changes, he's had to deal with the quarterback changes. DeShone Kizer was there when he first got there. Kevin Hogan in 27 played. 2018, Tyrod Taylor. And then we had Baker Mayfield, a breath of fresh air. Now you're thinking we got Baker Mayfield, we've got Myles Garrett, and this team is rolling. Unfortunately, was not the case. Case Keenum in 21, Nick Mullins, Jacoby Brissett, Deshaun Watson, PJ Walker, Dorian Thompson-Robinson, Jeff Driscoll, Joe Flacco, Jameis Winston, Bailey Zappi, Dylan Gabriel, and Shedeur Sanders. Those are the quarterbacks that Myles Garrett has had to work with over the years for the Browns. Not great. So a lot of this what I'm building to is that this all happened because of the inefficiencies of the Cleveland Browns. The front office also changed from Sachi Brown and John Dorsey in 2017 and 2019 to Andrew Berry, who's there currently. Everything changed for Myles Garrett all the time. The only thing that didn't change was number 95. For nearly a decade, he was the constant. His totals as a career Brown, 125 career sacks. He's the Cleveland Browns all-time sack leader. 149 tackles for loss, 239 quarterback hits, 23 forced fumbles. The guy's just an absolute beast. And watching him play on Sundays, you saw the guy get mugged. The double team factor for Myles Garrett. I mean, I think they could have thrown a flag every single time. Every single time. I mean, it's unbelievable how this guy got grabbed around the neck, held, and he still was able to make plays. I think that's the one thing that we're really going to miss is watching a player like Myles Garrett. And James Frank says Myles will retire a Brown. And then James Frank also said, I'm not going to lie, I wish Greg Williams got more time. Yeah, Greg Williams, I really did like Greg Williams. I kind of wish he did get that job. I know he's been on some talk shows in Cleveland over the last couple of years. I think he may either live here or his son does. He still has some kind of ties to Cleveland. And I really did like Greg Williams a lot. Braden on TikTok saying that Myles looks happy and he hopes he gets a chance for a ring. I agree also. So the double teams, the tight end chips, the running back help, the holding, everything that the offense did was to try and stop Myles Garrett. And he still produced. And our Browns fans who swear, there are Browns fans who swear he got held on every single play. And it did feel that way. In 2020, the COVID year, the year the Browns, right? How apropos. The Browns go to the playoffs and nobody's in the stands. There was limited seating. I didn't go to any games that year. And that's a year that the Browns go to the playoffs. Myles Garrett, he contracted COVID and he missed some games. He wasn't the same in 2020. He looked tired. I remember the ends of the game. At the end of the games, he just looked exhausted. And that's what COVID. I mean, I'm surprised the guy played after having COVID. I know I couldn't. After I had COVID, there's no way I could have played for a while. I was pretty down and out. So you got to give the guy's just tough. I mean, to go out there and play at an NFL high level after having COVID. But I remember him looking exhausted. And then the Browns lost to Kansas City. And guys, didn't it seem like the whole team just looked exhausted? I remember who was the quarterback? Chad Henne, maybe. I wish Steve was here. Steve, where are you? I think it was Chad Henne that once Patrick Mahomes got hurt in that playoff game in 2020, Chad Henne basically just ran for that. I think he ran for the first down where he got to within 1 yard and they did a little reverse to Tyreek Hill or a little swing pass to Tyreek Hill, and that sealed the game. But, Garrett still, with everything that happened in his COVID year, he was still a driving force behind the first playoff victory against the Pittsburgh Steelers. Remember that game when Kevin Stefanski was in the basement of his house because he had COVID, and Myles Garrett and the defense had a spectacular game. They started off with a touchdown on the opening snap that went over Ben Roethlisberger's head. And then speaking of Pittsburgh, how in the world could we forget about the Mason Rudolph incident? It was Thursday night football, and I was at this game. It was me and Taylor, my daughter Taylor. We went down there. And I remember the Steeler fans, right when we got there, Steeler fans being Steeler fans, yelling, jaw-jacking. And the Browns, pretty early in that game, took control of the game. They had a couple interceptions. The game really wasn't out of it's actually out of reach for Pittsburgh pretty early. And then that at the end of the game, there were about 8 seconds left. And that's when Myles Garrett sacked Mason Rudolph. Mason Rudolph, supposedly, from what Myles Garrett said, used a racial slur towards Myles Garrett. Myles Garrett ripped his helmet off and then just beat him over the head with it, which he deserves if he did say something racist. The funny thing about that is the game was it was in hand. It was a Thursday night. I was with my daughter Taylor, and I remember I don't know if I had to work in the morning or she had to work with probably like a minute and a half left in the game. Taylor and I left, so I didn't even get to see it live. Ever since then, I tell myself, don't leave the game early. It's not worth it because you never know what you might miss. And that's one moment that I regret as a Browns fan that I didn't stay for. I should have just said, because now when I go to the games and the Browns are winning, I stay till the very end, till the last tick of the clock. I don't want to miss anything. I don't want to miss it at all. It's a Browns win. Now, if the Browns are getting killed, there's still a chance I could be leaving at halftime. Me and Steve will be asking each other, hey, what do you think? You want to leave? I'll give it one more drive. We give it one more drive and then, okay, time to leave. So we've done that quite a bit over the years, but staying for victories, I usually do stay. So it was kind of a bummer that I didn't see Mason Rudolph get knocked in the head with his own helmet. It's really nothing more embarrassing to get your helmet ripped off and hit over the head. But so Myles Garrett, though, he did get suspended. I believe it was 6 games. So he was suspended indefinitely, and then it was a 6-game suspension that he finally received. It was a league-wide controversial story, national story. In some weird way, it made me feel a lot better about Myles Garrett because we had been just pushed around by the Pittsburgh Steelers for so long, and we finally had a guy that was going to fight back. Remember when Muhammad Massaquoi got bent in half by, I think, Joey Porter, maybe? Steve, I wish you were here. You could tell me. Or the time that our punter got kicked in the face when Antonio Brown was high hurdling on a punt return. And I can't remember the punter's name either offhand. Or the Colt McCoy. Remember the Colt McCoy illegal hit? And all the Browns players just stood around. Nobody helped them up. And it was a vicious, brutal hit. And so this to me was a little bit of payback for the Pittsburgh Steelers for all the dirty play that those guys play with all the time. And the other fun thing with Myles Garrett was the Halloween. I love Halloween. I love October. I love the fall. I love everything. I love pumpkin beer. I love pumpkin beer. Actually, pumpkin is really good. And his Halloween decorations were phenomenal. His yard, he would decorate his yard with tombstones of quarterbacks. And every year he had great costumes. I can only imagine what his costumes will look like now that he's in LA, where they have all the Hollywood makeup artists. I'm sure it's going to be pretty decked out. So I'm still looking forward to that with Myles Garrett. But he became part of the culture in Cleveland. Everybody was wondering, what's Myles Garrett going to do this Halloween? Who's he going to dress up as? And every year he would come with something new. I love the one that he did when it was the Stranger Things. and I can't remember the name of the damn Steve. You're killing me today. Where are you? The Stranger Things. I don't even know if you watch Stranger Things, Steve. Maybe somebody knows the creature that he Volcar. I don't remember. Vulcan, something. But that was a cool costume too. And some of the things that we don't hear about all the time with Myles Garrett too was his community impact. He was part of the Water Boys Foundation. He did school visits, youth football programs, literacy initiatives, community outreach, and animal welfare support. He gave back to the city of Cleveland a lot. And now, no player is perfect. And if we're being honest, Myles, he had some controversial moments for the Cleveland Browns. For me, one of the biggest ones was the day that Deshaun Watson blew out his Achilles. It was week 7 of the 2024 season, October 20th. And excuse me, sorry about that. I got a message about wanting somebody to join live on TikTok. I'm not sure what that really means. So I hit no. I probably should have hit yes. Anyways, when Deshaun Watson got injured and blew out his Achilles, it happened on a play. He was bootlegging from around the 20, 25-yard line. And immediately his Achilles went out. I was at the game, and it was actually the first it was in the first half of the game. I remember that. And Watson got carted off the field. Some Browns fans were booing. I was there. I heard it. It was, I don't know what they were really booing. I think they were booing at Deshaun because he had played so poorly. I get it, but it wasn't the whole stadium booing. It was a couple boo birds. And I don't want to see anybody get hurt playing football. And I will never cheer or boo or say anything. The only thing I will ever do when someone gets hurt is clap and cheer when they get off the field or when they get carted off. That's sportsmanship. And there were Browns fans that were dicks that day. Flat out. That's what it was. That's what I saw. But Myles criticized the Browns fans publicly after the game. And he said Browns fans should be ashamed. And he called this is what got me then. Then he called Deshaun Watson a model citizen. Myles, you had me when you were saying the Browns fans should be ashamed. You lost me when you called Deshaun Watson a model citizen. Are you kidding me? Main reason I don't want Deshaun Watson to be the Browns quarterback is because of the kind of person he is off the field. Anyways, this is one of the few times that Garrett and Browns fans were not on the same side at all. Now, there's also the other side of Myles Garrett. I like to call him Speed Racer. He loves shooting down 71 south at about 100 miles an hour. He's had 9 speeding citations since coming to the NFL in 2017. In 2022, he also had a rollover crash with also multiple incidents driving well above the speed limit. The one that he just had this year was that I think they actually clocked him doing over 100, but then they said it was in the 90s he was going. Either way, it was too high. It was in a 60-mile-an-hour zone where he was doing over 100. In a press conference, then Myles Garrett said, I don't want to discuss it. And he became visibly annoyed. He told reporters to ask different questions. See, to me, you got to own up. You got to own up if you're Myles Garrett and you're speeding, and you're the face of the franchise. And he kind of didn't. So, there's that part of Myles, the off the field guy that personally I wasn't a huge fan of. I loved Myles Garrett on the field, but the stuff that when he's speeding, I did not care for that from my star. Then after the 2025 season, Myles Garrett publicly requested a trade on February 3rd. And his reasoning, he said, as a kid dreaming of the NFL, all I focused on was the ultimate goal of winning a Super Bowl. And he said at the end, my goal is never to go from Cleveland to Canton. And he wanted a chance for that Super Bowl. Well, instead of trading him, our good buddy Andrew Berry decided to give him a contract. So they gave him a record deal, $160 million in 2025. 4 years, $160 million, $123 million guaranteed of that. So it's a nice payday. Let's see. I did want to talk real quick too about his modifying that contract this year, because in March of this year, the Browns restructured that contract, which actually shifted bonuses, made it easier for the Browns to move him. A lot of people were saying, oh, yeah, they're not going to move him. They're not going to, you know what? A lot of people were saying that. Not only were a lot of people saying that, Andrew Berry was saying that. He actually said that to Mary Kay Cabot on March 29th. Okay, so maybe he didn't say it. He was very delicate in the way he said this, and it could be construed a little bit that he was kind of leading the reporter down one way, but meant something else, because Andrew Berry was irked when he was asked the question during an interview with a small group of Browns beat reporters covering the meetings about, hey, are you going to trade Myles Garrett? And he said, this is the key thing. He said, he started with, Myles is a career Brown. He didn't say anything, Myles will end his career as a Brown. He said, Myles is a career Brown. Okay. Sounds like a lawyer talk to me. He's one of the faces of our organization. I think we've been very clear, both past and present, in our terms, our feelings. I understand all the questions. Kind of sounds like Kevin Stefanski doesn't. I understand the questions. But I'll be honest, I don't really want to waste a ton more breath on the topic. And then he ends up trading him. My phone just went off again. This car thing, people are trying to get a hold of me for selling this car, man. I don't know. Like, they're going to have to wait. So there was also the one last part I really kind of wanted to touch on was the great debate of who's better, Myles Garrett or was it TJ Watt? Now, for a while, it was very, very close. TJ Watt, I think he won the defensive player of the year, I think like in 22, maybe 23. And then Garrett won it the following year. And they had been compared to each other all the way along. The funny thing is, back in the 2017 draft, the Pittsburgh Steelers took TJ Watt at number 30. If you remember, I was saying that the Cleveland Browns took Myles Garrett number 1 that year. Well, TJ Watt went 30th. The Browns also picked Jabril Peppers at number 25, and at 29, David Njoku. There was plenty opportunity for the Cleveland Browns to take TJ Watt and Myles Garrett. Funny thing is, me and Steve are both really big bloodline guys. Like if you have that bloodline in you, the Clay Matthews blood, some other brothers or fathers and sons that have played, well, the Mannings, there's one for you. But I think it's important, and Steve thinks it's important too. And TJ Watt was on. We could have had TJ Watt. Could you imagine having TJ Watt and Myles Garrett on the field at the same time? Now, obviously, they wouldn't have been able to keep both of them, but it would have been great for the first couple of years to have them both. Well, I guess the thing that the fans will think most about, though, Myles Garrett, are the sacks, the dominance, the Halloween costumes, the short little playoff runs. He was only in 2-3 playoff games: the Steelers game, the Kansas City Chiefs game, and then the Houston Texans game. He's also known for that Mason Rudolph incident that we talked about, the trade request, the Defensive Player of the Year awards, the greatness. And he wasn't perfect. He wasn't always right either. He had his controversies. He had his disagreements with the fans too. He had disagreements with the media, and he made mistakes. But none of that changes what happened on the field. For nearly a decade, the best pass rusher in football wore a Cleveland Browns uniform. Myles Garrett leaves Cleveland as a future Hall of Famer, the greatest pass rusher in franchise history, and one of the greatest Browns players in all time. And this trade hurts. It hurts, and it should. We lost a piece of our cornerstone of our franchise, but football's a business. The Browns received Jared Verse, future first-round pick, a second-round pick, and a third. They're not going to replace Myles Garrett. You just simply do the best you can to fill the void that he leaves behind. Now the Browns begin their next chapter, and us Browns fans will be debating for years whether this was the right decision. I guess time will tell. But it was fun having Myles Garrett while he was here, and I do wish Myles Garrett the best in LA. So that's my Myles Garrett little wrap-up story tribute on Browns news today. Let me check to see if there's any comments about. No comments today. We got a couple of listeners out there, though. Thank you very much for listening. And then I got I can't Manja Smoke 444 on TikTok. How do we feel about Myles? I think it really hurts, but the right move in the long run. I totally agree with you. Manja Smoke 444. It is the right move. I don't like it, but it is the right move. And I think Andrew Berry got fair value for Myles Garrett. A couple other Browns pieces. I was working on this stuff last week, some Browns news, and then kaboom, they dropped the old Myles Garrett trade on us. So there's a couple little things that I wanted to talk about, though, too. Todd Monken, guess what he's saying? He's saying that he will have a quarterback named who the starter will be after the OTAs. Monken means it when he says the best man will win. I think this is an open competition. So we will know shortly after the last set of OTAs who he is going with, and just in time, then that quarterback will get the majority of reps in training camp. I'm not sure. I go back and forth on this. Deshaun Watson, for one, I don't really want to see him. I don't see the point. I think it just doesn't help the franchise at all. I think you really need to know what you have in Shedeur Sanders. You're amassing draft picks from this trade for Myles Garrett. Well, don't backtrack then and start saying, well, we'll go start Watson and try to win games. No, let's figure out what we have. This is a rebuild year. Probably this year, next year too. Lady Deuce 03, it hurts. We're grieving our loss. I'm happy with Verse, though. I'm excited for the season. I am too. I can't wait to see what Verse does. And then Manja Smoke 444 replied, Verse is going to be such a blessing in the long run. He's only 25, and he's a beast. And let's talk real quick about the Browns receivers. Jerry Jeudy on Todd Monken's offense. Jerry Jeudy says that Todd Monken's offense is giving players more freedom and creativity. It's kind of what I'm hearing about Todd Monken. He sounds like a player's coach. Jeudy said everybody can do everything. Versatility is a major theme. You remember that Todd Monken, he was a Ravens offensive coordinator. He helped with Baltimore to the number one rushing offense in 2023. And he's known for his motion, spacing, aggressive play action concepts. I think this team is going to look a lot different on offense this year. And I feel that trying to get over that 20-point a game hump will be a little bit easier than it was last year. And they're going to have to, because the defense is not going to be as good as it was last year. On the other receiver that's standing out is Isaiah Bond right now. He's elite speed. He's explosive. He can stretch the field. And having him and Concepcion, I think this really opens up a lot for the Browns. I think Isaiah Bond could become a surprise playmaker in training camp. But I know that the Bearded Browns, Angel from the Bearded Browns, he was one of the first ones that I was talking to about how good he feels that Isaiah Bond could be. And he might be right. Isaiah Bond, he needs more seasoning, but I think he could be a really good player for the Browns. And I think that's about all I got for Browns news. Let's bounce over to Know Your Enemy. Couple little things, and I know Steve's not here to hear this, but Ben Roethlisberger says the Steelers are Super Bowl contenders. See, Steve would be happy because we're not talking about Aaron Rodgers like we've talked about the last, I don't know, 2 months on this show, really ever since we started. But now Big Ben, he's saying Pittsburgh has the potential to get to the Super Bowl. Okay, Ben, I don't know if I don't know. I don't really think they do. I know he's just saying that. I don't think they're good enough. I really don't. I don't think we're good enough. But Ben, I think maybe that face plant into the windshield 15 years ago still has some lingering effects because I don't see them going to the Super Bowl. He predicts the Steelers will finish 12-5. Man, there was one here, comment here. I'm a huge Sanders guy, but now that we have 2 first-round picks, I'm kind of all in on that 27 class. I agree. I really like Lenore Sellers. That's a guy I like. I know he's still very raw. He didn't have a very good year at South Carolina last year, but I love the size. I love his arm strength. Mike Palmer says, I always stood behind Watson the whole time because of what he did pre-Cleveland on the field. But his time is done. Play Shador and move on. I agree. James Frank, I mean, every team has potential right now. He's so true. Every team. Hey, everybody's 0-0. Oh, the Ravens also, low Ravens news. They are in love with Trey Hendrickson, new Ravens head coach. Said he's making an immediate impact in Baltimore. Jesse Minter said is very, very, very pleased with Hendrickson so far in OTAs. Yeah, that's the one thing I guess we got to kind of worry about now is that Hendrickson's in Baltimore. Since he doesn't have a strong line guy, Cleveland doesn't really either. So it looks like in Pittsburgh, well, Pittsburgh's tough still. They've got who was it? Queen on the end, but TJ Watt, but I feel like he's fading too. So really, I mean, it looks like the Ravens defense might be really tough this year. All right, it's time now for a quick sponsor read for Wet Jet Pressure Washing. If your home or business is looking rough after Northeast Ohio winter or spring, which is now, Wet Jet Pressure Washing has you covered. Based in Painesville Township and serving all of Northeast Ohio, they offer house washing, roof cleaning, gutter cleaning, concrete sealing, deck restoration, even commercial fleet cleaning. Wet Jet has been doing it right since 2001. Fully insured, bonded, and using professional-grade equipment. Mention there's the Gleam podcast and get $75 off their spring cleaning package. Call Scott and the team at 440-283-WASH, 440-283-9274, or visit Wet Jet Pressure Washing. Wet Jet Pressure Washing, clean that stands out. Let's get that Gleam back, Cleveland. All right, so I wanted to next hit on, guys, I've got it. I'm going to take a second here and do this right if I'm going to do it. Because that's the only way you do it is if you're going to do it right.
There's a gleam, there's a gleam. Let's get the gleam. Let's go.
All right, time for the Gleam meter. So as I was saying earlier, that last week on the show we talked about setting the Gleam meter, what it would be, and we said, well, let's set the Gleam meter and ask people how they feel about Todd Monken this year. And then I was thinking, well, we already asked how they felt the Browns' record would be, and that was kind of a reflection on what Todd Monken, how he would be coaching. So then I was kind of like, okay, I don't really like that angle. So then I was reading about the Browns wide receivers and KC Concepcion. Yeah, so I thought, okay, KC Concepcion, that's a good one to do for the Gleam meter. And then the whole Myles Garrett stuff happened. So, anyways, I got a couple. Let's see if I have some comments about the Gleam meter. They said, how much uh, Brown, how much Gleam? You know, look, he's a rookie. Case is he a future playmaker in Cleveland? So here's the uh, yeah, this is a yeah, easily seen jumping five by bye week through F111. He'll be running free underneath coverage all year. Go Brown. Frank Alicia said it all depends on if you catch and before Tom before I think be a part of Michael's conference similar to Zay Flowers. Oh, I would like to be turned into Zay Flowers. I'm not competitive. And then Marvin gave him a three. Diane and Aim things that they I'm trying to rethink that. The thing was two. Very good on that. So I think the Gleam is pretty strong for Casey Concepcion right now. And then I also did the Miles. This Phoenix gave it a 2.5. Gave it a 2. Warner gave it a 2. A lot of people are not really thrilled with their trade. Some I read real quick. I hope this on Facebook, if I can get in here, maybe I won't even take the time because it's already 12:47. I really thought that I would have a hard time being able to host this show by myself today, but I'm not. I'm actually moving along pretty good here. Got the Gleam done. We do not have a segment for the land. This was Steve's week to do the land segment, and he did not get anything. So I'm expecting Steve to have a big land segment. But I will say this land segment for myself. I've got a couple in my mind that I'm thinking of that I want to do. So this weekend is the Parma rib cook-off. I went to the Berea one a couple weeks ago. I'm really thinking about hitting up that Parma rib cook-off this weekend. And then there's another one. It's called Glizzy's. Glizzy's hot dogs. This guy has a hot dog cart over on West 130th Street. He sells hot dogs and he has like different things that different toppings he puts on them. He does one that's almost like a Mexican street corn. So look for that because I think that's what I'm going to be hitting up in the next couple of weeks for the Gleam segment. Let's do right now. I'll tell you what. We're going to do Inside the Dog Pound. And then I've got a little bit of tailgating, something fun for tailgating. You might want to watch that when it comes up. And then I also have these a little bit of NFL news, not a whole lot. So let's do this is our segment called Inside the Dog Pound. And then we are helping the Euclid Animal Shelter and Euclid Pet Pals help adopt dogs, help finding the right owner for these dogs that are in need. Something that's really close to Steve and my heart is helping animals. I'm such a sucker for animals. I know Steve thinks I'm kind of like not an animal guy, but I really am an animal guy. All right, dog owners, this one's for you. And with our new partnership with Euclid Pet Pals, if you're thinking about adopting a dog or you just brought one home, first off, that's awesome. Second, nobody told you how fast that part adds up. And that's where Poo Poo We Do comes in. They are a pet waste removal service based in Painesville Township. You can get weekly, monthly, or even one-time cleanups. Services start as low as $15 for one dog, which is pretty much a no-brainer. You don't have to worry about getting it on your shoes or anything and have someone else do it for you. They've been doing it for 4 years. They keep it simple. You call them and they show up. Call them at 440-941-9798 for a free quote and let them know you heard about them on Get the Gleam podcast. And now for our free agent Fido of the week. Damn, I don't have a picture. Damn it. Steve, I need help. I don't have a picture of Malcolm. You know, next week I will put a picture of Malcolm up. I Yeah, I'm not that great when it comes to producing shows. I just, I just do my thing. I do behind the scenes stuff. I upload them to Spotify and Apple. Steve usually does a lot of the photo stuff. So, anyway, let's meet Malcolm. No pictures, but I'm going to talk about Malcolm because this dog needs a home. At around 3 years old, Malcolm is entering his prime of his career and is looking for a team to call his own. Standing tall with a powerful build, this guy might look like a defensive end coming off the edge, but don't let the size fool you. Underneath all that muscle is a lovable, goofy, big-hearted dog who simply wants a forever home. He's very people friendly and happiest when he's right by your side. Malcolm is one of the most dog-friendly players in the entire league. Seriously, if there was an all-pro or if there was a Pro Bowl for making canine friends, this guy would be a first ballot selection. He loves being around other dogs and brings positive locker room chemistry wherever he goes. Now let's address the scouting report. Malcolm is a strong dude. We're talking Myles Garrett level strength without the pass rush moves. Because of that, he'll need an experienced coach, owner, who is comfortable handling a larger, stronger dog. But once you get past the physical measurements, you'll discover that every great talent great talent evaluator looks for, and that is heart. He is also very people friendly, and Malcolm's heart is off the charts. This guy isn't looking for fame or stats. He's not chasing endorsements. He wants a family, a coach, and a couch, and some belly rubs, and a chance to be part of the team that will love him as much as he'll love them. Every day Malcolm remains in the shelter is another week spent on the practice squad when he belongs on an active roster. He's ready to sign his forever contract, report to training camp, and become the MVP of someone's household. So Browns fans, let's do what Browns fans do best, support our dogs. Share this post, tag your friends, tell your neighbors. Let's help Malcolm find the forever home he's been waiting for. Free agency is officially open. Malcolm is available immediately. Who's ready to sign this lovable big man to a lifetime deal? For Malcolm, this isn't about winning games. It's about finding family. Let's help this dog finally hear the words every free agent wants to hear. Welcome home. You can contact Euclid Pet Pals at www.euclidpetpals.net. They're on Facebook at Euclid Pet Pals, and their phone number is 216-289-2057. And I will say that I had a thought in my head, and it went right through my head, and I don't remember what I was going to say. Oh, I know what I was going to say is I will put a picture of Malcolm up on Facebook. So look on Facebook. I'll probably throw one up on TikTok too. Let's get a picture of Malcolm out there. I know we have one. I just don't know how to do everything. I'm trying. I'm not a slacker. I'm doing the work. Okay, let's do real quick Lot Zoo tailgating. So we had a tailgating company several years ago, 10 years ago now, called Lot Zoo. And so we're getting back, we're incorporating Lot Zoo because we're finding there are not a lot of podcasts out there that talk tailgating. We love tailgating. We had a group called the Muni Crew. We would go down into the Muni lot for years. It got really big, and then the Browns kept losing, and then we lost a lot of our members from the Muni Crew. But we're coming back. We're coming back with vengeance. So I actually had this. I love barbecue. And got it right here. Let's see. I got a comment here. What are you going to comment? Wow, James Frank's got a full Gleam on Todd Monken. I agree, James. Full Gleam for Monk. So I've got a taste test, barbecue taste test, folks. First time we're doing something like this on the show. I got 3 different barbecues. My wife, Erin, she labeled them A, B, and C. I don't know which one's which. I have Tony Roma's barbecue sauce. I have Open Pit barbecue sauce. And I've also got Great Lakes Dortmunder Gold barbecue sauce. So I figured I'd get a variety of price points. Open Pit, $1.50. I think I think the Romas was 4 something and the Great Lakes was 389 or so. I got these at Mark. So I probably should have bought like a $10 barbecue sauce. That would have, well, maybe I'll do that when Steve comes here. I'll give him the taste test and he can tell me which ones he thinks. So this is a blind test, A, B, and C. I got a couple pretzels. Well, maybe I just taste it with my finger here. Let's see the best way to do this. This is A. Ooh, A's got a. So A's got a. It's got a. Well, it could be because it's the only thing I've eaten today besides a protein shake. But it's got some zing. I got to taste the other one. So first, this is B. What's B? No, B's got a really smoky flavor. I would say A is kind of bland, like a little bit, but B's smoking good. Now, if you're smoking your meat on the grill, you don't need B because it's going to give you too much smoke. So whatever B is, if you're doing chicken on a propane grill in the Muni lot, you might want to go with B because of the smoky taste. And now C. Oof, I don't know. Guys, I can't put my finger on the taste. It's a little bit, it's okay. Maybe I'm a little barbecue sauced out. I'm not sure. All right, so I'm going to go with my final drink of water here. All right. All right, for tailgating. All right, I just tried C again. I'm gonna rank these 1, 2, 3. You know, I was a KC Barbecue Society judge for barbecue for a little while. Oh, I got to hold on one second. There we go. TikTok thinks I went offline, but I didn't. So I'm gonna rate these. If I'm tailgating, if I'm going down the Muni lot, or I'm going to the pit, or I'm going over to under the bridge, over by City Hall, I will say, I think I liked A best. I thought B was good, but it was smoky. So I would say don't eat B if you got a smoke and you're smoking your meat. And then C. So now my wife gave me this little piece of paper. It's going to tell me who is what and what is who. And we've got this. So full disclosure, I would think that this Great Lakes Dortmunder Gold would be up my alley because it's got beer in it, or what supposedly is after a beer, Dortmunder Gold, which I actually really like Dortmunder Gold. I would think Open Pit would be the cheap ass stuff, $1.50, probably not very good. Tony Roma's, it's a chain restaurant. I would think that this sauce is spot on. Let's see what the results bring. Number A, the one that I did like was Tony Roma's. Interesting. B, which I thought was smoky, but it was good, was Great Lakes Brewing. And then C, the one that I thought tasted like ass, was Open Pit. I don't know why I'm stunned by this. I shouldn't be stunned. Open Pit. Guys, Open Pit is not that good. Interesting. I'm gonna have Steve do this. I'm definitely gonna have him do, and not only that, I'm gonna have maybe one more hot sauce or one more barbecue sauce, so Steve can we'll buy a high-end one, like a $10 bottle, if that's even a thing. Let's go into a little bit of NFL news right now. We're wrapping up the show. We are an hour in. Okay, Daniel Jones, quarterback for the Colts, says he absolutely expects to be ready for week 1 after recovering from his Achilles injury. He's been participating in the OTAs and says that his rehab continues to progress. He is battling Anthony Richardson for the starting job. Boy, Daniel Jones was having such a good year before he got hurt last year. It's going to be interesting to see what happens in Indianapolis with the Colts. The other the news that we have, the NCAA refuses settlement for Texas Tech quarterback Brendan Sorsby. So the NCAA will not negotiate a settlement that would allow Texas Tech quarterback Brendan Sorsby to return to the field in 26. So he was denied the reinstatement. Texas Tech plans to appeal it, but I don't know, guys. I got a funny feeling that Sorsby is going to be going into the supplemental draft, which is June 22nd, only a couple weeks away. So it looks like the NCAA wants to make an example out of Sorsby and this whole gambling thing. So we'll see where that takes us. There was one more little piece I had about Shiloh Sanders, that he's still dealing with some massive legal and financial issues. This I did not. So I guess he got in a fight, or he beat somebody up, a janitor. This was a while ago. He tried claiming bankruptcy. He's fighting $11.89 million debt tied to a 2015 incident involving a school security guard, not a janitor. I guess he got in a fight. He got cut from the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. He got in a fight on the field in a preseason game, I believe. Not a very good player. Doesn't seem like a really good dude. Does not seem anything like his brother. But hey, kids are kids, man. You could have one kid that's perfect and the next kid that's a total bum. But so that was it for NFL news. Not a whole lot. Kind of a slow season right now. And we are going to wrap the show up almost on time with our closing comments. And I just wanted to say thank you, everybody, for listening, watching, following us. I really appreciate it. It was fun doing this show actually by myself. Not as hard as I thought it was going to be. But I still would much rather have Steve here with me. It's funner with two instead of one. I will say that. So anyways, go to www.there'sagleam.com. You can leave a voice message. I do not have a question up there right now. Maybe we'll ask, how do you feel about the Myles Garrett trade? You can leave us a voice message. We'll play it on the show. You can follow me on TikTok. You can follow Steve at TikTok on There's a Gleam. We've got all the tags. I don't know what they all are. I can't even read them because my computer's so small. But, just Google There's a Gleam. And after you see the Coach Marty Schottenheimer picture, then we're probably like right below that. So let me see if I've got. I think that's about all I've got. I know. I think that's it, folks. I think we're going to call it a day. Thank you very much for listening to the show. And I don't have what Coach Marty says, but what Coach Marty always says, don't forget what he said in the playoff game against the Denver Broncos at Cleveland Municipal Stadium. There's a gleam, man. There's a gleam. Let's go get the gleam. All right, let's go. Goodbye, Browns fans. See you next week.